In the summer when I was 23, I was diagnosed with a rare, incurable disease. The doctor declared I wouldn't live past a year. On that very same day, Shen Baiwei, the woman I deeply loved, got into a car accident. After waking up, she completely lost her memory. She forgot me. She only remembered Chenzi, who once pursued her. Determined to divorce me, she wanted to marry him. I couldn't believe the girl who didn't hesitate to break ties with her family for me, the one who, even with broken bones during an earthquake, desperately protected me. Shen Baiwei, who swore she'd be by my side for life, how could she forget me so completely? For the past 5 months I tried everything, she still didn't remember anything about me. Then, on Shen Baiwei's birthday, Chenzi suddenly broke out in a full-body rash and collapsed to the ground. The bodyguards searched my bag and found tulip pollen, which Chenzi was allergic to. I was forced to kneel before Chenzi's hospital bed. Shen Baiwei, who once looked at me with such passionate eyes, now only held bone-chilling coldness in her gaze. Fang Yuan, how many times have I told you? I don't know you. The one I love is Chenzi. Because you don't want a divorce, you hurt him. I shook my head violently. It wasn't me. Shen Baiwei then ordered someone to bring peanuts. She personally shoved handfuls into my mouth. I have a severe peanut allergy. I remembered the last time I accidentally drank a mouthful of peanut milk. Shen Baiwei frantically called an ambulance and watched over me without leaving my side for 3 days. After that, nothing with peanuts ever appeared in our house again. Hot tears fell onto the back of her hand. Shen Baiwei's fingertips trembled subtly, almost imperceptibly, but she still didn't stop. Another handful of peanuts was forced in. My throat felt like it was on fire. My skin quickly erupted in large red rashes. Breathing became increasingly difficult. My vision kept fading in and out. The physical pain was less than a 10,000th of the pain in my heart. I remembered the day I proposed. She cried and held me tightly, choking out a vow, Fang Yuan, from birth to death. Loving you is the only thing I will never forget. Yet now she has completely forgotten me, and I no longer have time to wait for her to remember me. My heart felt like a large hole had been carved into it. I gradually lost consciousness. In a haze, I seemed to hear Shen Baiwei calling me, her voice gentle and affectionate, just as it used to be. Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan. I wanted to respond, but I had no strength to open my eyes. Next came the special assistant's voice. CO Shen, Mr. Feng's notebook has been retrieved. It's filled with memories of you and Mr. Feng. You treated him this way. If he knew the truth, would he truly forgive you? Shen Baiwei's voice was tired. I know very well. This is a hospital. Just a few peanuts. Fang Yuan will be fine. If I didn't act a little harshly, how would he believe I truly lost my memory? How would he agree to a divorce? Chenzi has a terminal illness. He doesn't have much time left. Before he dies, he only has this one wish. I cannot help him. Once I help him fulfill his wish, I'll get my memory back and remarry Fang Yuan. Everything will return to how it was. Those memories? At most, it'll write him a whole new book. The acacia trees can be replanted. The love lock can be locked again. As for that golden statue, it'll get him a bigger one. The special assistant's voice faltered. But Mr. Chen's illness is clearly... Chenzi's father was my mentor. Before he passed, he always hoped I would marry him. Shen Baiwei immediately cut him off. For Fang Yuan, over the years, I've been too cold to Chenzi. I owe him. Once the wedding is over, he'll go abroad to recover. Then we'll no longer owe each other anything. A chill ran through me. So, everything was her plan. No wonder she forgot everything, yet remembered my peanut allergy. For the past 5 months, I searched for the solid gold double portrait statue. The year I gave it to her, her eyes crinkled with laughter. She said it was a golden bond, and that she wanted to grow old with me. But Shen Baiwei had someone melt the statue down and cast it into a golden watch for Chenzi to wear to a party. I took her to the top of the tower to see the love lock we had secured together years ago. Then she leaned into my arms and softly said, Fang Yuan, this way I'll be able to lock myself by your side for life. But now she personally cut off the old lock and replaced it with a new one with Chenzi. I took her to see the forest of 999 acacia trees. Because she said acacia trees symbolized eternal loyalty, I personally planted this forest for her. Yet Shen Baiwei had someone chop down all the trees and made a large bed as a gift for Chenzi. Now she said everything could gently start over. In my ears, her old vow echoed again. Fang Yuan, I love you. This life, unchanging. So, it was all a lie. She clearly knew Chenzi's illness was fake, yet still wanted to marry him. What about repaying gratitude or debts? It was just an excuse to change her heart. But I was truly dying. When I woke up, Shen Baiwei was by my bedside. Seeing me open my eyes, the worry on her face instantly vanished. Only indifference remained. My heart ached. I never knew Shen Baiwei was such a good actress. So all those deep feelings before, were they all just an act too? Fang Yuan, Shen Baiwei said coldly. He'll say it again. I don't know you. Then she took out that notebook. It was what I had written over these 5 months from my memories, filled with memories of us meeting, falling in love, from the proposal to the wedding. These things you wrote, I don't remember any of it. Don't waste your effort clinging to me anymore. She took out a lighter and lit the notebook on fire. Watching the notebook turn to ashes in the flames, my heart also burned to ash with it. My eyes were red-rimmed, but my lips curved into a sarcastic smile. She didn't know, this notebook wasn't originally written for her. It was written for myself. I have Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, commonly known as mad cow disease. It will cause my memory to become disordered, gradually forgetting, eventually losing all consciousness and dying. 7 years ago at the farm, a mad cow charged at her. To protect her, I was severely gored by the cow. At that time, I only had emergency wound treatment. I didn't pay it much mind. Who knew the virus would lie dormant for 7 years, eventually manifest? I was afraid that one day Shin Baiwei would regain her memory, and I wouldn't recognize her anymore. So I recorded everything. It's good that it's burned now. From now on, let neither of us remember the other. Shen Baiwei took out the divorce agreement and pushed it towards me. This time, I picked up the pen and decisively signed my name. Shen Baiwei froze for a moment. Just as she was about to say something, her phone rang. It was Chen Zi's call. A faint cry of pain came from the other end. She immediately grabbed the signed agreement and quickly rushed out of the hospital room. I watched her figure disappear, slowly wiping away a tear from the corner of my eye. I took out my phone. Hello, please book a flight to Switzerland for me in 7 days. Also help me schedule euthanasia. From the hospital to home, as soon as I opened the door, a white ball of fur rushed over. It was Wang Zi, the stray dog that Shen Baiwei and I had adopted 5 years ago. He was wagging his tail, circling my ankles. I had just curved my lips into a smile. The moment I looked up, the smile froze on my face. Shen Baiwei and Chen Zi stood in the middle of the living room, looking at me. Chen Zi immediately looked terrified and hid behind Shen Baiwei. Shen Baiwei frowned and gestured to the bodyguards. The bodyguards immediately stepped forward to search me, afraid I might be carrying something that would harm Chen Zi. I ignored their search. My heart ached numbly. The divorce agreement already stated, "This house belongs to you." Shen Baiwei pointed upstairs. "I'll go get some things, then leave immediately." She turned her back and went upstairs. Wang Zi hesitated for a moment and followed her. Perhaps he didn't understand why. His mistress hadn't been home recently. In the living room, the innocent look on Chen Zi's face immediately disappeared. His eyes fell on the brand name watch on Fang Yuan's wrist. "You're divorced now. Give back Baiwei's father's watch. After all, we're getting married in a week." I lowered my head, looking at the watch on my wrist. I remembered when Shen Baiwei put it on me. Her eyes were filled with love. "Fang Yuan, this is what my father left for me. He told me to give it to my future son-in-law. It represents our lifelong, unwavering bond." Now for Chen Zi, she didn't hesitate to fake amnesia to divorce me. She no longer loved me. Keeping this watch was just a joke. I took off the watch and handed it to him. Chen Zi didn't expect me to be so decisive. Just yesterday, I was still trying to help Shen Baiwei regain her memory. He took the watch, looked up at me. His eyes held hidden cruelty and determination. "No matter what you're planning, Baiwei will only belong to me from now on." Before he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and violently threw the watch to the ground. I hadn't even recovered from my shock when Chen Zi picked up a shattered piece of the watch face and violently shoved it into my hand. I wanted to pull away, but my wrist was tightly clasped by Chen Zi. His grip was shockingly strong. Whoosh, a white blur rushed downstairs, even faster than Shen Baiwei. Wang Zi bared his fangs and lunged to bite Chen Zi, biting his leg. Chen Zi cried out in pain and pulled my hand violently. The sharp piece of the watch face sliced across my cheek, leaving a faint trail of blood. He shrieked in pain and let go, falling to the ground. Just then, Shen Baiwei heard the commotion and ran downstairs, witnessing the scene firsthand. She rushed over and violently shoved me away. I lost my balance and fell to the ground. The palm of my hand was cut open by the watch piece. Fresh blood immediately gushed out. Shen Baiwei lifted her leg and kicked Wang Zi, who was still biting Chen Zi, away. Wang Zi yelped in pain, rolling to the side. He whined pitifully, not understanding why his mistress, who always loved him, was treating him like this. She bent down to help Chen Zi up, her voice filled with worry. "Chen Zi, are you all right? Does it hurt? I'll take you to the hospital right away." She quickly helped Chen Zi leave, never once looking at me from beginning to end. I huddled on the ground in a ball. I remembered that time I had a severe cold and high fever. Shen Baiwei, who was in a meeting abroad, flew back that very night just to apply cold compresses to lower my fever. She watched over me all night. I remembered when I accidentally got a small cut on my finger. She was so heartbroken her eyes turned red. And that time, I was severely gored by a mad cow while saving her. She went almost insane, almost overturning the entire city to find specialists. And then there was the first time she lost her temper with me. Afterwards, she hugged me tightly, crying non-stop, choking out, "Fang Yuan, nothing must happen to you. Without you, I'd rather die than live." Without me, would she truly rather die than live? My tears fell onto the cold floor. Wang Zi whimpered and crawled over to me, sticking out his tongue, gently licking the tears from my face. I hugged Wang Zi tightly, burying my face deep into his warm fur. My voice was broken, unable to form words. "Wang Zi, I'm not hurting. It really doesn't hurt at all." I held Wang Zi, sobbing silently. Wang Zi nudged his big head against my face, whimpering softly, as if awkwardly comforting me. If I'm no longer here, what will Wang Zi do? I had just finished bandaging my hand wound when Shen Baiwei's bodyguards burst in. "Mr. Fang, please come with us." Wang Zi suddenly leaped in front of me, baring his sharp fangs at the bodyguards, letting out a warning growl. The lead bodyguard, with an expressionless face, pulled out a taser and signaled to the person beside him. "Don't hurt him," I quickly spoke up. "We'll go with you." I squatted down, comforting Wang Zi, who was poised to attack. "Be good, Wang Zi. They won't hurt me." Wang Zi rubbed against my leg, whimpering softly. My eyes burned. I patted his big head. My voice was hoarse. Wait for me. They'll be back for you soon. I wasn't at ease leaving Wang Zi behind, with Shen Baiwei and Chen Zi. I decided to take him with me. The euthanasia date could be postponed until I could find a truly kind owner for Wang Zi. In the detention center, I met Shen Baiwei. Her face was cold, her eyes like ice when she looked at me. Fang Yuan, not only did you smash the watch my father left behind, but you even dared to lay hands on Chen Zi and injure him. It seems the last lesson wasn't enough. Just stay here and think things through for a few days. Her gaze swept over the blood-soaked bandage on my hand. Her pupils contracted sharply, her eyebrows unconsciously furrowed. What happened to your hand? I slowly raised my hand, staring intently into her eyes. Each word, one by one, I asked, Shen Baiwei, do you truly not remember anything? A flicker of panic crossed her eyes, but immediately returned to indifference. I don't remember. I repeatedly uttered the 3 words, okay, okay, okay. My heart felt like a sharp blade had carved a large hole in it. Bone-chilling wind blew through. The person who once told me that no matter when, my heart will only remember Fang Yuan was now deliberately forgetting me. All my words were choked in my throat, unable to be uttered anymore. I turned my face away, no longer looking at her. Before Shen Baiwei left, she instructed the detention center staff, lock him up for 3 days. Let him think for himself, but don't let him suffer. As soon as she left, someone came and whispered a few words to my cell block leader. For the next 3 days, I was continuously beaten by the other inmates. My entire body was covered in bruises. The bandage on my hand was ripped off and the wound was stomped on repeatedly. It quickly became inflamed and oozed pus. At night, I could only sleep beside the reeking toilet. On the 3rd day, I was dragged to the water trough. Basins of icy cold water were poured over my head. When I left the detention center, I had been tormented beyond recognition. As soon as I stepped out of the gate, I was forcibly shoved into a car and taken to a private room in a high-end restaurant. In the room, Chen Zi was leisurely dipping meat, a provocative smile on his face. Sit down, let's eat together. I turned to leave, but the bodyguards held me firmly in the chair. Chen Zi brought a bowl of freshly dipped meat to my face. Were the past 3 days in there comfortable? Have some nourishing food. If you don't behave, I'll ask Baiwei to send you back there for a few more days. Remembering the 3 days of torment, my body suddenly stiffened. I picked up my chopsticks and mechanically put a piece of meat into my mouth. I've eaten. Can I go now? Chen Zi burst into a smug laugh and waved his hand, signaling the bodyguards to leave. Such delicious dog hot pot. I only eat 1 piece. My heart suddenly sank. My voice trembled. What do you mean? Chen Zi wiped his mouth, his tone accompanied by a cruel smile. That mad dog dared to bite me. Naturally, I wouldn't spare it. It just so happened to be perfect for nourishing dog hot pot. How does it taste? I specifically had someone save it for you. He leaned close to my ear, speaking in a voice only we could hear. Oh, that's right. When that damn dog was about to be strangled to death, it was still holding your clothes and whimpering, wanting to crawl back to your room. My stomach churned. I vomited with a retch. Wang Zi, he was still waiting for me to come home. I bit my lip tightly. My mouth was filled with a sweet, metallic taste. Chen Zi, I suddenly stood up. With all my strength, I punched Chen Zi in the face. How dare you! I screamed, overturning the entire dining table. Hot broth splashed onto my legs and Chen Zi's arm. Chen Zi shrieked in pain, yet I seemed to feel no burning sensation on my legs. Like a madman, I lunged and pinned Chen Zi down, my eyes bloodshot, punching him repeatedly in the face. Just then, the private room door was violently pushed open. Shen Baiwei rushed in. Fang Yuan, what are you doing? She forcefully pushed me off Chen Zi. My head hit the corner of the overturned table hard. My vision immediately went black. I reached up to touch, and my hand was covered in fresh red blood. Shen Baiwei helped Chen Zi up and roared at me. Are you crazy? But when she saw my face covered in fresh blood, her whole body froze. The heartache on her face was truly genuine. Baiwei, my arm hurts so much. Chen Zi raised his red, burned arm, his voice full of grievance. Shen Baiwei's expression immediately turned cold again. I wiped a streak of blood from my face and tremblingly pointed at the meat on the floor and screamed, He killed Wang Zi! He cooked our Wang Zi! That's Wang Zi, who's been with us for 5 years. Shen Baiwei stared blankly at the meat on the floor, her expression becoming pained. Chen Zi immediately spoke up, his tone innocent. Baiwei, that dog bit me first. You agreed to let me handle it. After all, it was your dog. How could I dare act recklessly? I just took it to the animal rescue center. What dog, Hot Pot? I don't know what he's talking about. I was peacefully eating dinner, and he rushed in and hit me. Shen Baiwei looked at me, her gaze even colder. I don't remember us ever having a dog. Chen Zi is so weak. He wouldn't do something like you described. But a dog that bites a person certainly deserves to die. Even if it really was made into hot pot, you still can't hit someone and splash boiling water on them, can you? In my mind, the rainy night 5 years ago suddenly appeared. We found a trembling puppy next to a trash can. It pitifully licked my fingers. We brought it home together. Shen Baiwei bathed it, holding it and smiling with crinkled eyes. His name is Wang Zi, okay? He won't have to suffer anymore. Let me and Wang Zi protect you together, all right? Thinking of this, my eyes reddened and tears immediately welled up. How ridiculous. How ironic. Wang Zi remembered me until his death, while the woman before me, who once said she loved me so passionately, pretended to have amnesia for another man, hurting me again and again. Shen Baiwei looked at Fang Yuan's appearance. Her heart felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tight. She clenched her fingers, but tearing silently to herself, just endure for 3 more days. In 3 days, the wedding will be over. She will regain her memories. Baiwei, I'm in so much pain. Chen Ze's pained groans pulled her back to reality. Shen Baiwei looked at his reddened arm, her eyes filled with sorrow. She didn't even notice my legs, my skin burned and peeling. I'll take you to the hospital right away. She didn't spare me another glance. She helped Chenzi turn around and leave. The private room door was quickly pushed open again. A bag dropped with a thud at my feet. A familiar tuft of soft white fur peeked out of the bag. Inside was Wang Zi's fur. I hugged the bag and screamed in agony. I'm sorry, Wang Zi. Dad came home too late. I'm sorry, I don't know how I got home. That small figure was no longer in the house, no longer greeting me, no longer intimately clinging to my side. I held Wang Zi's fur, sitting in a daze all night. The next day, I treated the burns on my forehead and legs. I took Wang Zi to the pet cremation center, putting his ashes into a small porcelain jar. Good Wang Zi, just wait for Dad 2 more days. Dad will be with you soon. I bought another bouquet of chrysanthemums and went to the cemetery. I caressed the tombstone, pressing my forehead against it. Mom and Dad, our family and Wang Zi, will soon be reunited in another place. Just as I returned home from the cemetery, Shen Baiwei stormed in aggressively. She fiercely grabbed my wrist, her tone filled with anger. Fang Yuan, where did you take Chen Zi? What more are you pretending? It's just a dog. You not only burned and beat Chen Zi, but now you've kidnapped him too. Fang Yuan, what else do you want to do? Only then did I realize Chen Zi was kidnapped, and she was convinced I did it. My heart, which I thought had become numb, was now torn to shreds again. I remembered that camping trip. I had a high fever and got lost. Shen Baiwei was frantic with worry. Eventually, Wang Zi led her to find me. She hugged me then, her voice trembling. Fang Yuan, if you disappear, I'll go crazy. She said Wang Zi led her to me. Later, Wang Zi would be a member of our family, protecting me together. Yet now she says, it's just a dog. I almost screamed. I didn't break the watch, and I certainly didn't kidnap Chen Zi. Wang Zi is not just a dog, he is my family. It was Chen Zi who killed Wang Zi and cooked him. Seeing my red-rimmed eyes, Shen Baiwei couldn't help but loosen her grip on my hand. A sudden panic arose in her heart. But her tone still couldn't soften. These past few months, because you didn't want a divorce, what tricks haven't you used? Now Wang Zi has simply been taken away, and you keep insisting Chen Zi killed him. But you already hit him. Why would you kidnap him too? I suddenly felt so exhausted, an exhaustion that seeped into my very bones. I turned my face away, my voice hoarse. I don't know where Chen Zi is. 2 more days. You two can do whatever you want, just don't bother me anymore. What do you mean, 2 more days? Shen Baiwei was about to ask more when her phone suddenly rang. It was her assistant calling. CEO Shen, Mr. Chen has been found. It's just that he was beaten by several people until he was covered in bruises, and his mental state is very poor right now. Suddenly, a woman's tearful plea came from the other end of the line. It was Fang Yuan. He ordered us to do it. Shen Baiwei abruptly looked up at me. Her eyes held an unprecedented, bone-chilling coldness. She once again clenched my wrist tightly, her fingernails almost digging into my flesh. You don't know where Chen Zi is? Now I'll take you to see. She dragged me into the car. On the top floor of the abandoned building, Chen Zi, his clothes disheveled, his forehead swollen and bruised, was huddled in a corner, trembling. Seeing Shen Baiwei's eyes reddened, his voice hoarse. Baiwei, you're here. Fang Yuan wants to ruin me before our wedding. But don't worry, even if he drugged me, I would rather die than touch them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be pure anymore. Shen Baiwei immediately let go of me and heartbreakingly helped the trembling Chen Zi, gently comforting him. I moved my aching wrist. The bloodstains on it were even deeper than the wound on Chen Zi's forehead. The men and women kneeling on the ground suddenly scrambled over, crying and tugging at my pant leg. Mr. Fang, you told us to do this. Quick, save us. I frowned, avoiding their touch, and was about to ask who they were when I was interrupted by Shen Baiwei's furious roar. Fang Yuan, you dared to drug Chen Zi. Don't you know Chen Zi is very weak? How could you be so cruel? When did you become so vicious? I suddenly burst out laughing. I laughed and laughed. The tears I had held back for so long finally fell. So you still remember what I used to be like? Are you regretting loving me now? I pointed at Chen Zi standing behind Shen Baiwei. Is he really sick or faking it? Don't you know in your heart, Shen Baiwei? Shen Baiwei's heart fluttered in panic, but she still acted stubborn. I don't know what you're talking about. I laughed more and more fiercely, laughing until my back bent. When I finally stood upright, the smile on my face had completely vanished. Fine, if you're so determined to think I did it, then let's just say I did. How do you want to get revenge on me this time? Just kill me directly, I don't care. Seeing me like this, a suffocating sense of unease rose in Shen Baiwei's heart. She helped Chen Zi turn to leave in a panic, leaving behind a cold instruction. Lock the door. After Chen Zi is examined, have him and these people give me an explanation. The assistant hesitated slightly. CEO Shen, is it safe to lock Mr. Fang and them together? Shen Baiwei let out a cold laugh. He's a grown man, and furthermore, these people were all brought by him. What's unsafe about it? Chen Zi, supported by her, a sinister, smug look flashed in his eyes. Through the closing door, he winked at the people inside. The door clicked shut, locked tight. The people who had just been kneeling on the ground, crying piteously, immediately changed their expressions. They smirked wickedly, stepping towards me, suddenly kicking me to the ground. Punches and kicks rained down continuously. I looked through the window frame without glass, and saw Shen Baiwei helping Chen Zi into the car. From beginning to end, she never once looked back. I suddenly stopped struggling, allowing the cold punches and shoe soles to strike me. A man grabbed my hair and slammed my head against the wall. A dull thud echoed throughout the empty floor. Someone gave instructions for you to pay your debts. A punch, then another punch. My ears were ringing. My mouth was filled with the smell of blood. The person got tired of hitting me and shook their wrist. Warm-up's done. Then, everyone exchanged glances and let out malicious laughs. Two men held me tight. A woman poured a bottle of unknown liquid into my mouth. My jacket was ripped off. My body was kicked to the cold floor. He's a man. What are you men crowding around for? A woman who was unbuttoning Fang Yuan's shirt laughed and scolded the eager men next to her, the men with vulgar tones. No wonder he's Xiao Shen's ex-husband, this body, this face. It makes even us men feel tempted. Ha ha ha. My eyes were empty. I didn't struggle, nor did I make a sound. Images of that mountain climbing trip flashed before my eyes. I accidentally sprained my ankle. Shen Baiwei heartbreakingly knelt down and massaged my ankle. That day's sunset was as warm as today's, and at the wedding, she hugged me, her eyes slightly red, saying that marrying me was the greatest fortune of her life. And that time, just because a wealthy heiress, drunk, said she wanted to sleep with me for a night, Shen Baiwei immediately used her connections to make the other family go bankrupt. Falling from the clouds into the mud overnight, she said, "Fang Yuan, you can only be mine. No one else is allowed to desire you." Each past scene appeared before my eyes, then shattered and vanished like soap bubbles. A tear rolled down from the corner of my eye. Shen Baiwei, my biggest regret in this life is that I loved you. After everyone had vented their anger, they straightened their clothes and untied the ropes binding me. If I knew you didn't have such backbone, I wouldn't have bothered tying you up. No wonder Xiao Shen favors him. He really makes people unable to stop. Ha ha ha, right? A burst of laughter. I numbly propped myself up, wiping the blood from the corner of my mouth, and adjusted my ripped shirt. I slowly stood upright, my straight body tilted backward. A gasp of surprise reached my ears. Oh my god, he jumped. Anyway, I'm going to die soon? What's the difference between one day sooner or later? It's just not a very dignified way to go. I felt like I was sinking in a swamp, sinking deeper and deeper, until I completely disappeared into the darkness. When I opened my eyes again, the overhead lights were so blinding I had to squint. I raised my hand to shield my forehead. Where is this? The hospital. That's right. Shen Baiwei, allergic to peanuts because of me and her conversation with her assistant. She hadn't lost her memory at all. My heart felt like it was being torn apart, aching to the point of numbness. My eyes were dry and stiff. I wanted to sit up, but my whole body felt disintegrated. It hurt so much that I had to gasp. Only then did I notice my wrists and legs were both bandaged. I looked at the nurse changing my dressing. I frowned slightly. I just had an allergic reaction. Why do I have wounds on my body? The nurse looked up at me, her tone surprised. Allergic to what? When you were brought here, your whole body was covered in wounds. New wounds on top of old ones. There were also large burns on your legs. Many of the wounds were already infected, especially on your palms. If you had come a little later, they would have had to be amputated. I really don't know how you endured it. I was completely stunned. What the nurse said, I didn't remember any of it. I took out my phone. The date on the screen and, in my memory, didn't match at all. In the photo album, there were plane tickets for 2 days later and an euthanasia appointment slip. I just felt a pounding headache. When signing the divorce papers, the watch face cut my palm, telling Wang Zi to wait for me to come home, being beaten at the cemetery, falling from the building. Fragmented memories flooded my mind. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't piece them into a complete story. My heart ached so much it felt like it would explode. My memories were already messed up. This also made me realize that my illness had worsened earlier than expected. Maybe a week, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next second, I would forget everything. The hospital room door suddenly burst open. Shen Baiwei quickly rushed in and hugged me tightly. Her eyes were red. The pain on her face was so real, it didn't seem faked. Fang Yuan, how did you get so hurt? Her voice trembled, as if she had been so distraught these past few days that she hadn't noticed I was covered in wounds. I forcefully pulled my hand away, turning my face to avoid her touch. My tone was icy. What? Is the play over? Have you regained your memory? Shen Baiwei's face immediately turned pale. The pain in her eyes hardened, then completely vanished. Although I don't remember you, we were still once husband and wife. A little concern is only natural. Just then, Chen Zi entered, leaning on the doorframe. His gaze at me clearly held apprehension. Shen Baiwei immediately went to him, her voice softening. You still have a head injury? Why are you running around? I went out to get the test results and stopped by to see Fang Yuan. I'll be right back. Chen Zi's tone was weak. Stopped by? My heart wrenched. So I was just a casual stop. Even though Fang Yuan always hated me and dealt with me, he's still your ex-husband. I still wanted to check on him. Chenzi paused for a moment as if something suddenly occurred to him, his face puzzled. What a coincidence. How come all the people who kidnapped me escaped, and Fang Yuan inexplicably has a body full of wounds, making you sad to see? The implication was too clear. Shen Baiwei's face immediately darkened. Her gaze at me was now only cold. The pain from before had completely vanished. Fang Yuan, are you afraid of being held responsible so you let those people go? And you deliberately hurt yourself, hanging yourself on the safety net, just like before, to get my attention. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? I didn't remember what Chen Zi said, but Shen Baiwei doubted me based on just a few of his words. She once said, no matter what happened, she would stand by me, trusting me unconditionally. Now she thinks my whole body covered in injuries is fake just to get her attention. I thought I would be heartbroken, but I only found it absurd and ridiculous. At this moment, Chenzi suddenly pointed at the collar of my patient gown, his voice raised. Ah, what is this? Shen Baiwei looked in the direction he pointed. Her pupils constricted sharply. Fang Yuan. Her voice was icy. Who is it? I lowered my head to look at the purplish red mark on my chest. It was a hickey, but I had absolutely no memory of where it came from. I only felt a wave of nausea. Shen Baiwei suddenly clenched my bandaged wrist. It hurt so much that I gasped. I asked you, who is that woman? I forcefully pushed her hand away, my voice filled with exhaustion. Shen Baiwei, we're divorced. You can be with Chen Zi. My business is none of yours. Shen Baiwei was so angry she laughed, repeatedly saying two words. Fine, Fang Yuan. Don't you dare regret this? Having said that, she helped Chen Zi and slammed the hospital room door shut. In the hallway, Shen Baiwei handed a stack of photos to her assistant. Publish them. The assistant took the photos, his hand suddenly trembled, almost dropping them. They were my private photos. CEO Shen, are you sure you want to do this? I'm afraid that later when you regain your memories, Mr. Fang, he won't. Shen Baiwei cut him off, her tone firm. He's dealing with Chen Zi now. It's just because he loves me too much. No matter what I do, he will forgive me. He will also indulge me. Besides, this is something I did while I had amnesia. When the time comes, I will compensate him well. I promised Z I would give him an explanation. I must do something. She again instructed her assistant to investigate if I deliberately hung myself on the safety net and created a body full of wounds and hickeys to provoke her. Although in her heart she already believed that I had faked the intimate marks with another woman, wanting to force her to regain her memories, but deep down, she still had doubts. She had to completely erase them so it wouldn't affect her future life. I am hers, except for her. No one else is allowed to touch me. The assistant obeyed and prepared to leave. Shen Baiwei called him back again. From the stack of photos, she pulled out a few of the most explicit ones. These ones aren't needed. Go. The assistant took the remaining photos, gave her a complicated look, then turned and left. In the hospital room, I was still trying to piece together the memories of the past few days. I opened the photo album on my phone. Inside were the photos Chen Zi had been sending continuously for the past few days. Chen Zi on one knee proposing to Shen Baiwei. They hugged and kissed, even wedding photos. The background was the rose garden I planted myself. Shen Baiwei once said that when she was little, she always dreamed of having her own rose garden. So I spent 2 years, on our wedding anniversary, bringing this sea of flowers before her. Then she hugged me, her eyes crinkled with a smile, saying that in this life she would only love me. This sea of flowers was proof of our love. Words of love still echoed in my ears. The main characters in the photos had changed. I silently, my finger swiped across the screen, blocked and deleted Chen Zi's contact. Just as I put down my phone, the screen suddenly lit up. A news notification popped up. Private photos of CEO Shen's ex-husband leaked online, selling for 1 cent. My blood seemed to freeze instantly. On the website homepage, my most private photos were enlarged, captioned with a starting price of 1 cent. Only Shen Baiwei had these photos. How could she? My entire body trembled uncontrollably. Shen Baiwei's words exploded in my ears. Fang Yuan, every aspect of you is my treasure, only I am allowed to see it. Don't look at other women. If another woman even glances at you, it'll go crazy. That time at the party, a woman invited me to dance. She took me home and clung to me with an almost insane possessiveness for an entire week. Those scorching words, now like poisoned knives, stabbing my heart one by one. Below the photos were countless vile comments. Those filthy words were like sticky hands, dragging me back to the top of that abandoned building, my dignity torn to shreds, the sinister smiles of the people surrounding me, bone-chilling despair. Memories suddenly became nauseatingly clear. The detention center, Wang Zi's death, the fall from the abandoned building. My expression gradually became numb. Only much later did I manage a bitter smile, so I still couldn't die. Early the next morning, disregarding the doctor's advice, I pulled out the IV needle from my hand and left the hospital. One more day until I leave. Since I couldn't die, some things should also come to an end. I returned home, took out all the love letters Shen Baiwei wrote to me, the gifts she gave me, our joint photos, wedding photos. Everything that had witnessed our love was taken out by me, filling an entire truck. I told someone to dump all these things into the sea. Now between Shen Baiwei and me, only I remain. The next day, I woke up before dawn and set up a brazier in the middle of the living room. I took my favorite paintings, the books I often read, item by item, throwing them into the flickering flames. Tomorrow, I have to leave. It was as if I was sending these thoughts ahead of me, until the fire completely died out. All that remained was a small bag containing documents and Wang Zai's ashes. In the room, there was nothing left that belonged to me. The room door was suddenly flung open. Shen Baiwei and Chen Zi burst in. I indifferently looked up at the two of them. Isn't tomorrow your wedding with Mr. Chen? Why are you here again? Do you want this house as your bridal chamber? I'm leaving right now. My coldness was like a sharp needle, stabbing straight into Shen Baiwei's heart, making her inexplicably annoyed. Hand over Chen Zi's belongings. His tone was ice cold. That's what we'll be using for the wedding tomorrow. Chen Zi knelt before me with a thud, his voice trembling. Fang Yuan, I know you hate me, but Shen Baiwei loves me now. I won't pursue anything you've done to me before. Please, consider that I don't have long to live. Give my things back. That's the only relic my father left for me. I suddenly sneered. Shen Baiwei, feigning amnesia. Chen Zi feigning illness. What a match made in heaven. I don't know what you're talking about. Your things, I've never seen them. Chen Zi timidly stepped forward, his voice choked with tears. It's what your men took the day you kidnapped me. Please give it back to me. Shen Baiwei hurriedly helped Chen Zi up. Her gaze was ice cold. She glared at me with hatred. He's not worthy of your begging. Saying that, she directly snatched the small bag from the sofa. She emptied everything inside onto the floor, declaring, I don't need it anymore. My horrified cry caught in my throat. Wang Zai's urn fell onto the tiled floor. With a crack, it shattered, a handful of scattered ashes, scattered amidst the broken white ceramic shards. I promised Wang Zai that I would take him with me, but there's nothing left now. Nothing at all. I knelt down, trembling. My fingers were just about to touch the pile of ashes. Chen Zi suddenly let out a roar. Rummaging through the scattered items, he found a jade pendant, broken into several pieces. He stomped his foot heavily on the pile of ashes, crushing them twice. Immediately he lunged at me, punching and kicking like a madman, but I was like someone without senses, my gaze fixed on the ground. Those ashes, they could no longer be gathered. Shen Baiwei pulled Chen Zi away. She pointed at the jade pendant on the ground and interrogated me. Do you have anything left to deny? Chen Zi had a pained expression. Let him kneel before my father's grave for a day, to atone to my father. Shen Baiwei hesitated for a moment. Finally, she nodded. I let out a desperate cry. My bloodshot eyes stared at Shen Baiwei. She had destroyed everything I had, leaving me physically and mentally exhausted. Now, even the last thing I cared about was stolen. My biggest regret in this life is ever meeting Shen Baiwei. Shen Baiwei's heart suddenly clenched, but she immediately suppressed the strange feeling. As she turned, she left a sentence. It will end soon. I lowered my head. My voice was light as smoke. Yes. Everything will end soon. Shen Baiwei didn't understand the meaning in my words. Just as she was about to ask more, Chen Zi pulled her away. Baiwei, there's still a lot to do for the wedding. Let's hurry. Not long after Shen Baiwei and Chen Zi left, Chen Zi came back. He dragged her to his parents' graves. A few bodyguards helped me up. They dragged me like a sack, throwing me before two gravestones. Chen Zi used the tip of his leather shoe to lift my chin. His eyes were venomous. I've loved Baiwei for so many years. Why did you snatch her away as soon as you appeared? Over the years, not a single moment passed that I didn't want to kill you. Now kowtow to me. Say you're a scoundrel. Otherwise, I'll dig up your parents' graves and grind their bones to dust. My pupils suddenly constricted. My throat choked out a broken plea. Don't. My forehead slammed hard against the cold stone slab. I'm a scoundrel again. I'm a scoundrel, kowtowing continuously for 2 hours. My head was split open, bleeding profusely. Exhausted, I collapsed to the ground. Chen Zi let out a triumphant laugh. I've changed my mind. Digging up your parents' graves might be more interesting. Please don't. My mouth was filled with blood and foam. Your father's relic. I really don't know about it, Chen Zi sneered disdainfully. Of course you wouldn't know, because it's something I put in your bag. A fake relic. I'm dying. I'm leaving tomorrow. I used my last ounce of strength to beg. Please, spare my parents. Trying to feign pity again to gain Shen Baiwei's sympathy? I've been sick of this fake illness trick for a long time. Chen Zi rolled his eyes, impatiently waving his hand to signal his men. I watched helplessly as my parents' graves were dug up. My eyes cracked open in fury. His voice was cold. And by the way, let me tell you, Shen Baiwei didn't lose her memory at all. Remember, never appear before Shen Baiwei and me again. Otherwise, I'll make your life worse than death. After saying that, he patted my face, then turned and left, satisfied. I curled up before the dug-up grave, laughing idiotically. Am I not already living a life worse than death? The next day, a dazzling ray of sunlight woke me. I squinted my eyes. My mind was blank. Where was this? Why was I in front of a dug-up grave? I seemed to have forgotten a lot of things. I only remembered that I was dying. I would be leaving today. Guided by an inexplicable intuition, I stumbled home, grabbed my documents and phone, and took a taxi to the airport. The car passed an incredibly luxurious wedding procession. Through the car window, my gaze met the woman in the wedding car, then quickly passed her by. I didn't know her, but an inexplicable feeling of disgust welled up inside me. The taxi driver sighed. This is the second wedding of CEO Shen of the Shen Group in our city. They say she and her ex-husband were once madly in love, like honey. Who knows how long this love story will last? The plane took off. I watched the city below grow smaller and smaller. No matter what I had experienced here, this would be the last time I looked upon it. Shen Baiwei, in the wedding car, felt an emptiness in her heart. Just a moment ago, she had clearly seen a familiar face. Those eyes held no emotion at all, as if looking at a complete stranger. She must have been mistaken. How could Fang Yuan possibly appear here? Baiwei, what are you thinking about? Chen's voice echoed in her ear. Today is our big day. Shen Baiwei reluctantly forced a smile. It's nothing, just thinking about what happens after the wedding. What? Our future, of course, Shen Baiwei answered vaguely. But in her heart she was planning, as soon as the wedding ended, she would immediately regain her memory, and come find me to explain everything. But why was there a feeling in her heart? A frightened feeling, as if something was slowly slipping away. The wedding banquet was incredibly lavish. Shen Baiwei, in her wedding dress, stood on stage, looking at the crowded guests below, but she couldn't focus at all. Her palms were dotted with cold sweat. Her heart pounded strangely fast. She just felt like something was wrong. Baiwei, what's wrong with you? Chenzi asked softly. The smile on his face was a bit stiff. You look unwell. I'm fine, Shen Baiwei replied distractedly. Her gaze wasn't even on him. Chen's expression immediately darkened. He tugged at the hem of her wedding dress, intentionally feigning weakness. Baiwei, I'm so worried. My head feels a bit dizzy too. Normally, such small gestures would always make Shen Baiwei immediately concerned about him. But today, she only gave a faint nod. Just try a little harder. It will be over quickly. Chenzi gritted his teeth. Raging anger surged in his chest. It must be that damned Fang Yuan. Even if he's not here, he still wants to ruin his wedding. Now may the bride please read her vows. The MCS voice rang out. Miss Shen Baiwei, do you take Mr. Chenzi to be your husband? Regardless of the words that followed, Shen Baiwei heard not a single word. Everything before her eyes was fading. Only the wedding in her memory grew clearer. Her Fang Yuan, dressed in a sharp suit, smiling as he walked towards her. The starlight in his eyes shone brighter than 10,000 stars in the sky. She remembered sobbing at that moment, clinging tightly to him, saying each word clearly. Fang Yuan, from birth until death. Loving you is the one thing I will never forget. Chenzi before her slowly aligned with the figure in her memory. Shen Baiwei's eyes were filled with tenderness. Her voice trembled with emotion. She blurted out, Fang Yuan, I do. The scene immediately fell silent. Immediately after, the audience began to buzz with whispers. Who did she call? Fang Yuan is Fang Yuan's name, right? Oh my god, this is a wedding and she called out her ex-husband's name? Is she crazy? I told you, how could CEO Shen forget Fang Yuan? Fang Yuan was willing to give his life for her love. Who doesn't know that? Look at Chen Ze's face. It's completely pale. Now there's a good show to watch. Can this wedding even continue? She'll probably divorce this Chen Zi soon, then remarry Fang Yuan. Chen Zi's face alternated between green and white. His knuckles were clenched, pale from the tight grip. Malicious resentment surged in the depths of his eyes. Fang Yuan, I will definitely make you die. The Mex gave 2 dry laughs, hurriedly trying to fix the situation. Miss Shen meant that. She is willing to be by Mr. Chen Zi's side, from dawn till dusk. This love needs no words. How incredibly romantic, but everyone knew. Shen Baiwei had called out Fang Yuan's name. The murmuring gossip washed over her ears like a tide. Shen Baiwei suddenly snapped awake. Only then did she realize with a start that she had made a blunder. And she had even mistaken Chen Zi for me. She looked at Chen Zi's pale face, her voice hoarse. I'm sorry. Chen Zi forced a smile. His fingertips dug into the seam of his trousers. It's all right, Baiwei. I understand you. Only he himself knew. His teeth were almost ground to dust. The next ritual proceeded in a strange atmosphere, hurriedly coming to an end. As soon as they entered the lounge, Chen's eyes were red, his voice choked. Baiwei, today's wedding was far different from what I imagined. I know Fang Yuan is still in your heart, but today is our important day. Shen Baiwei rubbed her temples in annoyance. I already said I'm sorry. You know, I don't have much time left. Chenzi took half a step forward, his voice was almost pleading. Baiwei, my wish is only one last step away. Shall we go register our marriage? Once we have the certificate, fulfilling my father's dying wish, and fulfilling my own wish, once we have the paper, I will proactively divorce you, and never bother you again. Please. Shen Baiwei looked up. Her eyes were ice cold. Chenzi, enough is enough. Don't wish for too much. What I could do, I have already done. Chenzi froze in place. He had never heard Shen Baiwei use such a tone with him before. Enough. Shen Baiwei cut him off. She turned and walked away, leaving through the door without looking back. Shen Baiwei drove home. My image filled her mind. All she wanted now was to see me immediately, to rush into my arms and tell me that she remembered everything. I would surely be very happy. Fang Yuan. She pushed the door open. Her voice carried uncontainable excitement. Fang Yuan, I'm home. I remember everything. Only an empty room responded to her. Fang Yuan, she ran upstairs, flung open the bedroom door. I've remembered everything. You've suffered so much these past few days. It's all my fault. I've already broken off relations with Chen Zi. Still, no one answered. Shen Baiwei's heart sank little by little. She turned over every room, every corner. There was nothing. I was gone. My clothes, books, razor, all traces of me were cleaned away, as if I had never been here. Her phone couldn't connect. WeChat was also blocked. She collapsed onto the sofa. Suddenly, the face she had briefly glimpsed in the wedding car flashed in her mind. Those eyes held no ripple of emotion, as if looking at a stranger. It wasn't a hallucination. It was me. But why was I there? And why did I have to leave? Behind Shen Baiwei, Chen Zhe's weak voice rang out. Shen Baiwei didn't turn her head. Chen Zi slowly walked up to her, his eyes red-rimmed. Baiwei, why did you leave right after the wedding ended? All the guests are gossiping, saying you're putting on a show with me. Will you come back with me? Just for one night, otherwise I don't know how to face everyone. At least let us appear like a real married couple, even if it's just for one night. He looked at her expectantly, but Shen Baiwei remained silent. My image filled her mind. Where did he go? Why did he have to leave? Was it because of today's wedding? But he had already lost his memory then. He should have waited for her. Chenzi saw that she wasn't responding. He deliberately coughed twice, lightly touching her arm. Baiwei, are you listening to me? Shen Baiwei looked up blankly. What did you just say? I wasn't paying attention. Chenze's face immediately flushed. Shame tightened its grip on his heart. He took a deep breath, his voice tense. Baiwei, what exactly is wrong with you? You've been distracted ever since the wedding started. Is it related to Fang Yuan? Hearing that name, Shen Baiwei's body suddenly stiffened, her voice trembling. Fang Yuan is gone. Chenzi was overjoyed inwardly, but on the surface he feigned worry. Gone? How can that be? All his belongings are gone. Perhaps last time at the hospital, the marks on his neck. Did he go with another woman? Shut up! Shen Baiwei suddenly flung his hand away. Her eyes held an unprecedented fury. Chenzi was startled by her reaction. He instinctively recoiled 2 steps. But Baiwei, those marks. Enough! Shen Baiwei turned back to glare at him. Her voice was cold. Chenzi, everything I promised you I've done. The wedding has been held. Your wish has also been fulfilled. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Chenzi's face immediately turned pale. Baiwei, what do you mean by that? We just got married, clearly. That was just a play. Shen Baiwei ruthlessly cut him off. Now the play is over. You can leave now. Chenzi gritted his teeth. A malicious glint flashed in the depths of his eyes. Then it was quickly replaced by a sense of grievance. He stood up, his voice trembling. I understand, Baiwei. I will leave. But Fang Yuan, is he truly worth all this for you? After saying that, he turned and headed for the door. As soon as he reached the hallway, the aggrieved look on his face completely vanished. Only viciousness remained. Fang Yuan, do you think running away will solve everything? I swear I will make your life worse than death. Shen Baiwei had just taken out her phone to call her special assistant when the door was pushed open. The special assistant quickly walked in. She immediately spoke. Immediately go investigate Fang Yuan's whereabouts. I want to know where he is. Yes, CEO Shen. The special assistant nodded in agreement but didn't move. Shen Baiwei frowned. What else? The special assistant hesitated for a few seconds. Still, he spoke. CEO Shen, the matter you asked me to investigate regarding Mr. Fang Yuan at the abandoned building. There's a result. What result? The special assistant took a deep breath. The marks on Mr. Fang Yuan's body, they were indeed left by others. Shen Baiwei clutched his collar tightly, her eyes bloodshot. Tell me who was that woman? The special assistant's face immediately turned ashen, his voice trembling. CEO Shen, it wasn't a woman. What do you mean by that? The special assistant's voice trembled so much it was barely audible. That day when Mr. Fang Yuan was at the abandoned building, he was subjected to those people. They drugged him. These words struck Shen Baiwei like a bolt of lightning. She froze in place, her mind was blank. After a long while, she suddenly let out a soft laugh. Letting go, she stumbled back 2 steps. What nonsense are you talking about? Those people were hired by him to deal with Chen Zi. How could they possibly touch him? This is fake news, he deliberately spread. He wants to provoke me into regaining my memory, right? You go find him right now. Tell him I've remembered everything. I want to remarry him. The special assistant looked at her, his eyes full of pity. CEO Shen, it's true. That day, coincidentally, someone was flying a drone near the abandoned building and recorded the entire process. I've already obtained the original video. Other copies have all been destroyed. He handed over a black USB drive. Do you want to watch it now? Or should I just destroy it? Shen Baiwei's mind was blank. She didn't even know how she had taken the USB drive. By the time she came to her senses, that cold sensation was already gripped tightly in her palm. She sat stiffly in front of the computer. Several times she reached out to plug in the USB, but her fingers trembled violently, receding again and again. The curse and the special assistant's words echoed in her mind. They drugged him. She didn't dare to imagine what she would become when she saw that scene with her own eyes, what she would become. Finally, Shen Baiwei took a deep breath and plugged in the USB. As soon as the video screen opened, it was a scene inside the abandoned building, filmed through a broken window. Fang Yuan's clothes were roughly torn by those people. Shen Baiwei's hand gripped the corner of the table. Her knuckles were pale from pressing too hard. On the screen, I suddenly stopped struggling. My gaze pierced through the window, looking downstairs. The light in my eyes slowly extinguished, finally becoming empty and lifeless. No, Shen Baiwei's eyes widened in fury. Her heart felt like it was being crushed. She forced herself to keep watching those beasts rush at me one after another. I was like a soulless puppet, letting them torture me. There was no trace of life left in my eyes. At the end of the video, I slowly adjusted my torn clothes. Then he fell backward from the window, falling into the safety net on the floor below. The frame suddenly froze. Shen Baiwei's eyes were bloodshot, sitting motionless on the chair, her whole body trembling violently. She recalled her words at that time. Those people were all found by him. What could be unsafe about that? All of this, it turned out, was orchestrated by her. After a long time, she slowly walked to the wine cabinet. Her trembling hands opened a bottle of wine, then poured it forcefully into her mouth. The strong liquor choked her, making her cough violently. A piercing, sorrowful shriek. She violently threw the wine bottle in her hand, veins prominent on her forehead. Crying, she collapsed to her knees on the floor, covered in shattered pieces. Sharp glass shards cut into her knees. Fresh blood soaked her pants. But this pain, compared to 1/10,000th of the pain in her heart, what was it worth? She didn't know how long she had been kneeling. She tremblingly took out her phone and called her special assistant. By any means, those beasts must be caught. Shen Baiwei sat amidst the floor covered with sharp, shattered wine bottles, pouring down one bottle of strong liquor after another. She didn't know how much she had drunk, only feeling her throat burn like fire, her stomach churning. Those images were like a nightmare, repeating over and over in her mind. She shed tears. Her lips constantly murmured, "I'm sorry, Feng Yuan. I'm sorry. I personally pushed you into the abyss." For 3 days, she neither ate nor drank, letting the alcohol numb her senses. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes bloodshot, her entire being withered to the extreme. Until the assistant walked in. "CEO Shen, those people have been caught." Shen Baiwei slowly lifted her head. Her eyes flashed with a chilling gleam. She staggered to her feet, holding a knife, heading straight to their detention place. She wanted to make them suffer a fate worse than death. In the basement, those people saw Shen Baiwei walk in, trembling with fear. They all knelt down, begging for forgiveness. "Please forgive us. We were also ordered by someone. It was Chen Zi. It was all Chen Zi who told us to do it." Hearing Chen Zi's name, Shen Baiwei's hand, holding the knife, paused. To be clear, it was Chen Zi who gave us money, telling us to falsely accuse Fang Yuan of kidnapping him. The leader of the men cried out desperately. Then he told us to drug Fang Yuan. After that, it was also Chen Zi who found people to release us. We really didn't want to do it, but Chen Zi threatened us, saying that if we didn't comply, he would ensure we died in pieces. Please forgive us. We all have families. Please forgive us. Veins pulsed on Shen Baiwei's hand, gripping the knife. The murderous intent in her eyes almost materialized. In just a moment, she turned and left the basement, picked up her phone and called Chen Zi. Her voice was terrifyingly calm. "Chen Zi, come here for a bit." On the other end of the line, Chen Zi heard Shen Baiwei's voice. A surge of wild joy welled up in his heart. Thinking she had changed her mind, he quickly agreed. Half an hour later, Chen Zi, dressed impeccably, arrived at Shen Baiwei's house. Baiwei. He walked into the living room, looking at Shen Baiwei sitting on the sofa, a look of sadness on his face. "I'm packing my luggage. I'll be going abroad for treatment soon, as promised. Even though I hate to leave you, but I will definitely keep my promises." Shen Baiwei slowly stood up, taking steps towards him. Seeing this, Chen Zi thought she couldn't bear to let him leave, and smugly congratulated himself. "Baiwei, if you want me to stay, I'm willing." Slap before his words were finished, a heavy slap landed on his face, making him fall to the ground. Chen Zi's ears buzzed, completely stunned. He looked up, meeting Shen Baiwei's bloodshot eyes. Those eyes were like an asura from hell, making him shiver instantly from head to toe. Only then did he understand. Shen Baiwei wasn't reluctant about him at all. "Why did you do that?" Shen Baiwei's voice was frighteningly low. Every word exuded bone-chilling coldness. "I agreed to fulfill your wish. Why did you falsely accuse Fang Yuan of kidnapping you? And let those beasts..." At this point, she couldn't speak further. Murderous intent surged from her entire body. Chen Zi scrambled up in a panic, clutching her leg. He cried miserably, "I didn't, Baiwei. I really didn't. I don't know what you heard from whom, but I truly never did such a thing. I'm the victim here. Maybe Fang Yuan angered those people after we left. After we left, he angered those people. Or maybe Fang Yuan himself wasn't clean with those women." "Shut up." The murderous intent in Shen Baiwei's eyes almost wanted to tear Chen Zi apart. The rest of his words caught in his throat. Chen Zi lay prostrate on the ground in a daze, clutching his chest, feigning pain. "I'm in so much pain, Baiwei. My illness has recurred. Please help me. My life is running out. For the sake of our past and for my father, please help me." Shen Baiwei kicked his hand away. "Stop pretending. You were never sick from the start. I've known this for a long time. I was only doing it for your father, to help you fulfill a wish. But I never expected you to dare harm Fang Yuan. This is a line I absolutely cannot forgive." Chen Zi's face immediately turned pale. "No, that's not it. I really didn't. I've been wronged. All those people have been apprehended by me." Shen Baiwei looked down at him. "They've confessed everything." Chen Zi was still struggling for the last time. "It must be Fang Yuan and them conspiring together. Fang Yuan hates me so much. Why should his claim of being forced be believed? Who knows? Maybe he and they had a good time, and now they're here to frame me?" Hearing these words, Shen Baiwei remembered the images in the video, remembered the light slowly fading in Fang Yuan's eyes. The fire of anger in her heart immediately blazed to the heavens. She gripped Chen Zi's neck with one hand. "How dare you insult him?" Chen Zi was pressed down tightly, struggling frantically. His face gradually turned purple, breathing becoming increasingly difficult. The shadow of death immediately enveloped him. He used his last ounce of strength, wanting to pry Shen Baiwei's hand off, but found her hand as firm as iron tongs, unmoving. Just as he was about to suffocate, Shen Baiwei suddenly released her grip and threw him away forcefully. Chen Zi clutched his throat, coughing violently. I won't let you die so easily. There wasn't a trace of warmth in Shen Baiwei's eyes. She signaled to the bodyguards. Drag him to the basement. Chen Zi was thrown like a piece of trash down in front of the men kneeling in a row. Shen Baiwei looked at those trembling men, threw down a large bottle of pills, her voice as cold as ice. If you don't make him suffer enough, I will have you replace him. Those people immediately understood her intention. In their trembling eyes, slowly, greed and malice emerged. Chen Zi recoiled in terror. Shen Baiwei turned and left. Behind her, his pathetic screams echoed. Shen Baiwei, my father was your mentor. I have loved you wholeheartedly for so many years. You can't treat me like this. Shen Baiwei's steps paused slightly. Without turning her head, she quickly walked away. Very soon after, the screams behind her turned into heart-wrenching wails. Shen Baiwei kept thinking, how could she make Fang Yuan forgive her? She thought of Wang Zi. Because of Wang Zi, Fang Yuan had been very angry with her. She immediately sent someone to the pet rescue center Chen Zi had mentioned to bring Wang Zi home. But the person sent quickly returned, saying that Wang Zi wasn't there at all. The final investigation result was like a bucket of cold water, pouring directly into her heart, chilling her to the bone. Wang Zi had died long ago, made into a hot pot by Chen Zi. Shen Baiwei remembered his heart-wrenching screams that day. Grief and regret immediately engulfed her. She rushed into the basement. At this moment, Chen Zi was miserably cowering in a corner, his whole body covered in blood and filth. His once handsome face and entire body were covered in wounds, emitting a disgusting stench. He had been tortured beyond recognition. Hearing footsteps, Chen Zi looked up. When he saw Shen Baiwei, he immediately crawled over and embraced her. Baiwei, please forgive me, he kowtowed vigorously, his forehead repeatedly hitting the floor with dull thuds. I know I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. They'll go abroad and never return. Shen Baiwei lowered her eyes. Her fingertips unconsciously stroked the seam of her pants. After a long time, she finally looked up, her voice as cold as ice. Where is Wang Zi? The pleading look on Chen Zi's face immediately froze, his eyes filled with panic. His lips trembled. I don't know what you're talking about. Think carefully before you speak. Shen Baiwei raised her chin slightly. The assistant behind her immediately stepped forward half a pace. His voice held no warmth. Dare to lie, I will have someone flay your skin, piece by piece. Chen Zi trembled like a falling leaf in the wind. When he met the surging, murderous intent in her eyes, he finally broke down and wept loudly, his forehead bleeding from repeated impacts. Blood mixed with tears streaked his face. I was wrong. I was truly wrong. That dog bit me. You said I could deal with it, so I had someone kill it. I didn't mean to. I was just too angry. Please forgive me. Shen Baiwei no longer looked at him and turned to walk straight out. The next day, she bought the best plot of land in the suburbs and erected a small tombstone for Wang Zi. Inside were buried his favorite snacks along with the toys she had repurchased, the toys he once loved the most. The photo on the tombstone was the picture she kept at the company. After returning home, she discovered not only had his belongings disappeared from the house, but even everything Wang Zi had used also had completely vanished. Shen Baiwei had Chen Zi brought before the tomb, raised her chin slightly, and ordered him to kneel and guard Wang Zi's grave for 7 days. Chen Zi trembled all over, his voice shaking. Baiwei, I already... Shen Baiwei's fingertips clenched until they were white, her voice as cold as ice. Bodyguards and top medical staff stood guard beside him. Chen Zi raised his hand and slapped himself, apologizing to the air. As soon as he dared to stop, the bodyguards would immediately continue. He fainted. The doctor immediately injected adrenaline, forcing him to stay conscious. For the next 7 days, the sounds of slapping and apologies echoed continuously in the cemetery. Chen Zi's face was swollen and completely disfigured, his throat hoarse, unable to utter a sound. After being repeatedly injected with adrenaline several times, he was barely clinging to life. Shen Baiwei had all of Chen Zi's actions investigating to the root of everything. The investigation report was quickly placed before her. Besides killing Wang Zi and making him into a hot pot, falsely accusing him of kidnapping, finding people to humiliate him, the bag of tulip pollen that caused his allergy at the party was because he bribed a server to place it in the other party's bag. 3 days of hell he endured in the detention center were orchestrated by him, bribing people to set it up. His father's mementos were still securely locked in his safe at home. What devastated her the most was, he actually dared to desecrate his parents' graves. As for the watch his father left behind, it didn't even need investigating to know Chen Zi had smashed it, just to frame him. Upon learning all of this, Shen Baiwei's vision blurred. She almost couldn't stand. She let out a heart-wrenching scream like a madwoman, smashing everything within reach. When he endured these sufferings, what was she doing? She had personally forced him to drink peanut water, causing an allergic reaction, personally sent him to the detention center, ignored his pain at the loss of Wang Zi, and coldly criticized him, abandoned him in an abandoned building, leaving him to be humiliated by Chen Zi's men. Finally, he desperately attempted suicide, yet she only saw it as a desperate ploy. Only now did she understand that his not dying then was her ultimate good fortune. But what about him? Believing Chen Zi's wicked words, she forced him to kneel before Chen Zi's father's grave, personally creating an opportunity for Chen Zi to hurt him again. All the pain he had endured was her fault. Tears fell profusely to the ground. Shen Baiwei slapped herself hard across the face, immediately followed by another slap. She finally understood. He was truly and utterly disappointed in her. That's why he took away everything related to himself, not even leaving behind a single love memento. How heartbroken and cold must he have been. Remembering the last time he looked at her, those cold eyes filled with disappointment and despair, Shen Baiwei's heart ached so much she couldn't breathe. Remembering how he had asked her again and again, "Is it true you don't remember anything?" She had dismissed it as idle chatter. Shen Baiwei suddenly stiffened. From when did he start, repeatedly asking her if she truly had amnesia? Could it be that he had known all along? That she hadn't lost her memory at all? This thought was like a thunderclap in her ears. Shen Baiwei instantly felt like she had fallen into an ice cellar. If that were true, how could I ever forgive him? At this moment, the phone on the table suddenly rang. The assistant's voice came through. "CO Shen, regarding Mr. Fang's whereabouts, there's a clue. Mr. Fang was diagnosed with Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease 5 months ago. The doctor said he couldn't live for more than a year." The phone slipped from Shen Baiwei's hand, falling to the ground with a shattering sound. Her entire being felt struck by lightning, her mind blank. Very quickly after, the assistant brought the examination report. The diagnosis date was 5 months ago, the day she staged the car accident and pretended to have amnesia. The report slipped from her fingertips. Shen Baiwei trembled uncontrollably. When he knew he had less than a year to live, she chose to feign amnesia, hurting him again and again for another man. She summoned the world's most reputable experts, frantically researching documents on Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. When she saw the description of the illness, her heart almost stopped. This incurable disease, also known as mad cow disease, would cause the patient to lose memory, suffer cognitive impairment until they forgot everything, and died in agony. She remembered the trip to the farm 7 years ago. He was gravely gored by a mad cow while saving her, his body covered in blood, yet he was still worried if she was okay. He used his own life to save hers, but at the moment his life was counting down, she personally pushed him into a deeper hell. When he needed her most, she was enacting scenes of affection with Chen Zi, using the cruelest methods to torture his already shattered heart. She dared not imagine how he had overcome it. On that wedding day, the moment the wedding car and a taxi brushed past each other, she saw him. Those eyes once full of starlight and love, now only held a stillness like stagnant water. His gaze at her was like looking at a stranger. She once thought it was the coldness after a dead heart. Only now did she understand, perhaps in his world, there was no longer a Shen Baiwei. A mouthful of fresh blood spurted from Shen Baiwei's mouth. Tears fell profusely like a broken string of pearls. These hands were once held tightly by him, swearing to protect her completely, but she used them to push him into hell. This woman once swore to love her until death without changing. She became the final blade that crushed him. Shen Baiwei began to wildly torment herself, while also cruelly retaliating against Chen Zi. She squeezed Chen Zi's chin, her voice devoid of any warmth. "Didn't you say you had a terminal illness? Then I will let you experience what a terminal illness is like." She took out a bottle of chronic poison, dropping it into Chen Zi's mouth, drop by drop. This poison would cause his internal organs to slowly rot, making him wish for death due to the pain, but he wouldn't die immediately. Chen Zi's eyes widened, shaking his head frantically, but couldn't make any sound. Shen Baiwei then took out a packet of tulip pollen and forcefully sprinkled it on him. "Do you want to know what Fang Yuan went through these past few months?" Chen Zi immediately had a severe allergic reaction. His entire body broke out in red rashes, breathing with difficulty. Just as he was about to suffocate, Shen Baiwei signaled to the doctor to inject him with a palliative. "Your suffering too? My suffering too is nothing compared to Fang Yuan's." A month later, Chen Zi went completely mad. He pointed at Shen Baiwei, laughing maniacally. "Ha ha ha, Shen Baiwei, I just wanted to kill Fang Yuan. All of this was caused by you. You clearly knew I wasn't sick. Why did you still agree to me? You loved Fang Yuan so much. Why did you pretend to have amnesia for my sake? You were the one who gave me hope. You were the one who made me think I had a chance to have you. It's all your fault. Why don't you just die?" Every single word was like a steel needle, piercing deeply into Shen Baiwei's heart. Chen Zi was right. It was all her fault. If she had rejected Chen Zi from the beginning, not given him any hope, not done such foolish things, he wouldn't have had to endure these sufferings. Shen Baiwei sank deep into self-destruction and agony, seeing no sunlight. Exactly 1 month after he left, the assistant finally brought accurate news. "CEO Shen, Mr. Fang's whereabouts have been found. He's in Switzerland." Shen Baiwei stood before the gate of a nursing home in Switzerland, blocked by a nurse. The nurse finished checking the computer records, looked up at her. "I am very sorry. This patient's information indicates he has no relatives or friends. You need to prove your relationship with him." Shen Baiwei was stunned. Prove her relationship with him? Other than a divorce agreement, she had nothing. Previously, when feigning amnesia, so as not to be suspected, she had returned all things related to him. The divorce certificate had long been torn up by him. The nurse shook her head. Madam, if you don't have documents proving your relationship with the patient, we cannot allow you to enter. Furthermore, when Mr. Fang registered for admission, he clearly stated he has no relatives nor any friends. The nurse's words were like an ice-coated blade piercing deeply into her heart. He was once her closest lover, her entire world. Now he had become a blank space in her information entry. She used all her connections, spent a lot of money, even disregarded her status and waited outside the director's office for an entire night. It wasn't until the third day that she finally got 10 minutes for a visit. The moment Shen Baiwei pushed open the ward door, her steps were as heavy as lead. He sat in a wheelchair by the window, wrapped in a soft fleece blanket, so thin he was just skin and bones. His once handsome face was now emaciated, almost disfigured. Sunlight enveloped him. It was as if a passing breeze could turn him into dust. Her throat felt dry and constricted. Her heart felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tightly, a pain so intense she couldn't breathe. Her fingertips clenched until they were bone white. She softly called Fang Yuan's name in a whisper. The person in the wheelchair slowly turned their head. Those eyes, once filled with 1,000 stars and deep love, now held only a hollow, lifeless void, as if covered by a thick, heavy layer of dust. My gaze had no focus, lingering on her face for a long moment. Then, my lips slowly parted. My voice was muffled, as if I had cotton in my mouth. Who are you? Shen Baiwei's world collapsed in that instant. She moved step by step, slowly kneeling before me. Looking up at me, her tears streamed down onto the floor. Fang Yuan, it's me. It's Shen Baiwei. Don't you remember me? I struggled to recognize her, my eyebrows slightly furrowed. It was the pure confusion and dislike reserved for a stranger. I mumbled the name, then immediately shook my head. Each word was a struggle, my tongue seemingly disobedient. Don't recognize. I'm your wife. Shen Baiwei carefully took my hand. Her fingertips were cold as jade. I yanked my hand back forcefully, a clear look of disgust on my face. Don't know you. Hate you, go away, Fang Yuan. It's me. Look closely. I'm your Baiwei. Tears streamed like a waterfall down her cheeks. She wanted to say something more, but the nurse had already pushed the door open and walked in, gesturing to her. Shen Baiwei was asked to leave the room. Her steps faltered, and she had to lean against the cold wall to steady herself. She didn't know how long it had been. When she saw a doctor emerge from my room, she immediately rushed to stop him. Her voice was hoarse, as if abraded by sandpaper. Is his condition very serious? How much longer does he have to live? The doctor looked at her distraught appearance, a flicker of pity in his eyes. Mr. Fang's condition is deteriorating very rapidly. He has scheduled euthanasia. It's in 1 week. Cherish this last time you have together. The 3 words euthanasia exploded in Shen Baiwei's mind. Her vision blurred, and all the strength in her body seemed to drain away instantly. She slid down the wall, collapsing to the ground. In 1 week, hell be gone from this world forever. She seemed to go mad, clutching the doctor's white coat. Her words tumbled out incoherently. No way didn't he have more than half a year left. Why is it so fast? Why can't he stand up? Even his speech is unclear now. The doctor was startled by her frantic demeanor, but patiently explained. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease is a fatal neurodegenerative disorder. Every patient will reach this stage. Given his current condition, he will soon lose all functions entirely, becoming a vegetative state till he passes away. He could have lived longer, but now his nervous system is severely damaged. His language ability is declining, motor functions are lost, and his vision is also rapidly deteriorating. As for why his condition progressed so quickly, the doctor paused for a moment, looking at her pale face. This rapid decline is often caused by severe mental stimulation or psychological trauma. Has Mr. Fang endured any strong stimuli? Strong stimuli. Psychological trauma. Shen Baiwei let go of his arm. Her body trembled uncontrollably. She remembered the peanuts she had personally fed me. She remembered my questions in the detention center. And poor Wang Zi, cruelly killed and cooked. The acacia forest, razed to the ground. The golden statue, melted down. Each and every one of those things, she had caused them herself. So, the one who accelerated his death was me. It was me, she mumbled, her voice soft as a whisper. I killed him. What? The doctor didn't hear clearly. Nothing. Shen Baiwei was about to turn away when the doctor's voice spoke again. Given the current progression of his illness, he will soon enter a vegetative state until he passes away. For him, euthanasia might be the best release. In tears, Shen Baiwei rushed back into the room but was firmly blocked by the medical staff. They quickly called the police. Shen Baiwei was put into a police car for disturbing a patient. I sat in the wheelchair frowning as I looked at her. The nurse stood close beside me. I'm not disturbing him. He's my husband? Shen Baiwei struggled, looking at me. Fang Yuan, tell them I'm your wife. I shook my head, my eyes filled with disgust. Don't know her. Shen Baiwei suddenly stopped struggling. All the strength in her body seemed to drain away. She choked out, repeating, Fang Yuan, I'm sorry. The assistant arrived in a hurry, completing the bail procedures, but Shen Baiwei shook her head. She turned and sat back on the bench in the detention cell. CO Shen, are you insane? Shen Baiwei pulled at the corners of her mouth, a smile uglier than a cry. Perhaps. I truly am mad. Inside the cell were a few local female thugs. Seeing an Asian woman dressed in an expensive suit, they immediately surrounded her. The chubby woman leading them bared her teeth, smiling maliciously. Hey, newbie, looks like you're rich, huh? Shen Baiwei lifted her head, her eyes empty and cold. The chubby woman was enraged by her gaze and incited her companions to push and insult her. Shen Baiwei didn't dodge at all, closing her eyes and enduring every push, as if doing so could share the pain in her heart. She suddenly opened her eyes, the depths of them bloodshot. A near-mad stubbornness was revealed. Is that enough? Go on, hit harder. Didn't you eat? The female thugs were frightened by her appearance. They looked at each other and slowly backed away. This woman was completely insane. When dawn broke, the assistant saw Shen Baiwei covered in wounds. He was so shocked he couldn't speak. "Co Shen." Shen Baiwei wiped a trace of blood from the corner of her mouth, her tone cold. Go prepare to buy out that nursing home. No matter what it takes, I can't let Fang Yuan leave me. If he doesn't remember me, then let him get to know me again. I will help him remember our memories. She sat on a chair outside my room. No matter how much money she offered, the head of the nursing home refused to budge. Finally, she used 1 billion yuan to buy, the right to be with me for the last 6 days. Miss Shen, you may enter now. The nurse pushed open the door to the patient room. Shen Baiwei took a deep breath and slowly stepped inside. I was still sitting in that wheelchair, silently looking out the window. Sunlight streamed through the window curtains, falling on my face, creating dappled patterns of light on my pale cheekbones. Fang Yuan, she softly called. I slowly turned my head, struggling to look at her. My lips moved, my voice stammering. You are. It's Shen Baiwei. She knelt before me, looking up at me. I just came yesterday, don't you remember? I came to be with you. I frowned, my face full of confusion and disgust, struggling to utter a few words. No. Don't know you. Don't need you. Each word was like a dull knife cutting into her heart. Shen Baiwei's heart felt as if it had been ripped open, a bleeding wound. She reached out, wanting to touch my face. Fang Yuan, look closely at me. We've known each other for so long. We used to. Get away. I suddenly became agitated, using all my remaining strength to push her hand away. My face was filled with disgust. Hate. I hate you. Shen Baiwei's hand froze in midair. The 3 words I hate you pierced through her chest like bullets. So, even with memory loss, my very being still harbored a deep disgust for her. Yes, to me, she was indeed a villain through and through. She suppressed the sharp pain in her chest, trying to make her voice sound gentle. Then, can we start over and get to know each other again? My name is Shen Baiwei. I'm 28 years old. I love you. I love you so, so much. Please, let me be by your side, okay? I tilted my head looking at her, my eyes full of wariness. Don't want to. Fang Yuan, why don't you want to? I shook my head. Disgusting. Don't remember? Go away. Shen Baiwei froze. This sentence struck her like a bolt of lightning. She remembered 5 months ago, the words she spoke to me when she pretended to have amnesia. Fang Yuan, I'll say it again. I don't remember you. Stop wasting your efforts clinging to me. So, that's how desperate and heartbroken I was back then. Only back then she was pretending, and her Fang Yuan truly no longer remembered her. She closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Fang Yuan. It's all my fault. I didn't respond, just stared blankly out the window. The nurse pushed the door open and walked in, gesturing to her. Shen Baiwei didn't stand up. Kneeling before me, her fingertips clutched the wheelchair armrest tightly. Please give me a little more time. She turned to the nurse, her fingertips white from the pressure. I can pay more. The nurse shook her head, her gaze falling on my strained face. Miss Shen, the patient needs rest, and he clearly doesn't want to see you. Shen Baiwei suddenly turned her head, meeting my unfamiliar and disgusted gaze. Her heart felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tightly, an agonizing pain. This is truly retribution. She braced her hands on the floor and stood up, her voice trembling to the point of distortion. It'll come again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that, until the very last day. She retreated step by step, moving towards the door. Her fingertips clutched the door frame. I will always come until you forgive me. My fingers, hanging limply at my side, stirred slightly. My voice was light as a feather, but each word struck her heart like a sledgehammer. Never forgive. Shen Baiwei's steps suddenly faltered. The next second, she stumbled out of the patient room, her back against the cold wall, sliding down to the ground. Her sobs were caught in her throat, tearing at her insides. Never forgive. Shen Baiwei never expected in a million years that these would be the last words I ever said to her. Later, she recalled countless times. Was it at that very moment that I remembered everything? Is that why I said those words? The next day, as soon as dawn broke, Shen Baiwei was already waiting at the entrance of the nursing home. Only 5 days remained until my scheduled euthanasia. She had stayed up all night, not sleeping a wink. She had arranged for 999 acacia saplings to be transported from home overnight. The first time she saw an acacia tree, she had pulled my hand, shaking it, saying that acacia trees symbolized unchanging, faithful love. She especially liked it. I ruffled her hair, my eyes filled with an undiluted fondness. Then I'll plant an acacia forest for you. Not long after, I truly did plant for her, a rose-filled acacia forest. I held her, standing in the forest, my chin resting on the top of her head. Baiwei, this is my unchanging, faithful love for you. But later, wanting a divorce to facilitate Chenzi's desire, she personally had people chop down that entire acacia forest, leaving nothing. Now, she wanted to replant these trees. When he sees the acacia flowers, he will surely be happy. Perhaps he might even remember our past. The gardener crouched beside the sapling, carefully looking up. "Co Shen, if these saplings are planted now, the survival rate is too low, especially since it's winter." Shen Baiwai's eyes were red-rimmed, her fingertips digging into her palm. "I don't care what the survival rate is. Plant them immediately, even if they only last 5 days. It's fine." She wanted him to see how passionately they had once loved each other. When she, covered in dust, rushed into the patient room, I was staring blankly out the window. My eyeballs didn't move at all. There wasn't even a blink. "Fang Yuan, look at this acacia tree, you remember? You once planted an acacia forest for me?" Shen Baiwei lunged forward, standing before me. Her voice carried uncontrollable excitement. Like before, she pulled my hand, shaking it. "I planted 999 acacia trees for you." I had no reaction whatsoever. Not even my eyelashes fluttered. Shen Baiwei reached out and gently waved her hand in front of my face. Her heart suddenly sank, as if falling into an ice pit. "Fang Yuan." She tremblingly took my hand. Those hands were ice cold, as if they'd just been pulled from icy water. The nurse approached with a tray, her steps as light as possible. "Mr. Fang woke up like this morning. He can't see anything at all, and he has completely lost his ability to speak. He won't be able to speak anymore." Shen Baiwai's world completely crumbled. Only a deafening buzzing remained in her ears. "Fang Yuan." She knelt before the wheelchair once more, pressing my hand to her face. Her tears fell onto the back of my hand, scorchingly hot. "It's me, it's Baiwei. Touch my face. Look at me. Please say something, anything. I was wrong. I was truly wrong. I shouldn't have faked amnesia. I shouldn't have hurt you. I deserve to die. I deserve to go to hell, but I couldn't see anymore. I couldn't see the acacia saplings just planted outside the window. I couldn't see her either. She would never hear my voice again either." Shen Baiwei hugged my stiff body, her sobs caught in her throat, as if someone was strangling her. She remembered 5 months ago. I sat opposite her countless times, my fingertips clutching the half-burnt notebook she had destroyed. My eyes held shattered hope, but she pretended not to see. She pretended not to remember anything. One by one, she coldly pushed me away. She even, right in front of me, took the notebook and threw it into the fire. Now, retribution had come. Leaving the nursing home, Shen Baiwei, as if mad, rushed into her hotel room. She wrote down all of our past in a notebook. Every single detail, every line of dialogue, every beat of her heart. The scratching sound of the pen on the paper. Her heart ached as if being slowly tortured. Why did she burn my memory notebook back then? If she hadn't done that foolish thing, perhaps I could have remembered her based on that notebook. Just as she had personally burned those memories back then, now she would write them down little by little. Fang Yuan couldn't see and couldn't speak, but that was okay. She would read to him, over and over again. "Fang Yuan. The first time we met was at the corner cafe. You wore a white shirt, sitting silently by the window, like a streak of light fallen to earth. The first time we kissed was on that snowy night. Your lips were so soft, with a hint of cool mint. The day you proposed to me, you knelt on one knee on a carpet of roses, holding the ring box. Your eyes sparkled as if filled with stars. She wrote all night, her fingers cramping from writing. Her eyes were bloodshot from staying up late, but she didn't dare stop. There wasn't much time left, only 4 more days. The next day, Shen Baiwei, clutching a thick diary, rushed into the patient room. The corner of her shirt still had undried tear stains. "Fang Yuan, I'm here." She sat beside me, opening the diary. Her fingertips gently traced the densely written words. "Today, I will tell you our story. The first time we met." But she had only read 2 sentences when she noticed something unusual. My eyebrows were even more tightly furrowed. My head also swayed slightly. A pained expression appeared on my face, as if I were enduring some kind of torture. The nurse hurried over, holding her arm. "Miss, please stop." Shen Baiwei suddenly looked up, her eyes red like a rabbit's. "Why?" "I'm telling him our story." The nurse's voice carried pity, and she sighed softly. "This morning, tests showed that the patient has developed cognitive impairment. He can no longer understand what others are saying at all. Continuing to speak will only cause him more suffering." The 3 words "can't understand" were like a sharp knife, stabbing straight into her heart, completely devastating her. All that she had carefully prepared, the memories she had written out all night long, were all useless scraps of paper in my eyes. Not only could I not see her, couldn't speak, but now I couldn't even understand her words anymore. Shen Baiwei collapsed onto the chair. The diary in her hand fell to the floor with a thud, pages scattering across the floor. Those lines filled with memories were now so blinding she dared not look directly at them. "Fang Yuan." She stretched out a trembling hand, wanting to touch my face, but her tears were like a broken string of pearls, falling onto the scattered pages, blurring a trail of tears. This pain, she fully deserved to endure it. I had 3 days left, and she could only watch helplessly, unable to do anything. Shen Baiwei inadvertently overheard a caregiver at the nursing home say that, on a snow mountain back home, there was an ancient temple. A peace talisman from there could bring peace to terminally ill patients. Clutching at this last straw of hope, she booked a flight back home that very day. Medicine couldn't save her Fang Yuan. She could only pray to the gods and Buddhas. As long as Fang Yuan can survive, I will gladly exchange all my family assets for it, even my own life. The snowy mountain road was treacherous and difficult to traverse. The biting cold wind cut into her face like a knife, stinging painfully. Shen Baiwei took one step, then prostrated herself, her forehead striking the stone steps covered in a thin layer of ice. Soon, it started to bleed. The blood clotted on the ice surface, only to be torn open again by the next prostration. Mingling with the melting ice water, it flowed down her cheeks. Her knees had long gone numb. Only bone-deep pain remained. Every step was like treading on knife points. Her mouth repeatedly uttered my name, her voice scattered by the wind. Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan. Wait for me. You must wait for me. She begged the gods and Buddhas for mercy, to grant her a chance at redemption, so she could see me one more time and tell me she was sorry. Just as Shen Baiwei used physical pain to pray for a miracle. At the nursing home in Switzerland, my condition took another turn for the worse. With only 3 days left until my scheduled euthanasia, my bodily functions completely deteriorated. I completely lost consciousness, becoming a vegetative state, could only be kept alive by a ventilator. The head nurse opened the entrustment form I had signed upon admission. Her finger brushed over those cold lines of text. According to Feng Yuan's last wishes when he was alive, if he were to become a vegetable, euthanasia would be carried out early. This was the last dignity I preserved for myself. The nurse next to her hesitated slightly. What about that Asian woman? Does she need to be informed? The head nurse shook her head. She continued to flip through my records. Her voice was calm, without a ripple. No need. The patient made it clear. He has no relatives or friends. That woman is not his family either. On the other side, Shen Baiwei finally reached the mountaintop. Her entire body was covered in blood, nearly frozen solid. Even her fingertips had lost all sensation. But she still clutched the peace talisman, which she had prayed for, exchanging half her life for it. Her eyes were filled with the joy of surviving the ordeal. She dared not delay for a second. She immediately booked a flight to return, eagerly hoping to put the peace talisman on my hand. But when she rushed into my nursing home room, what greeted her was an empty room. Sunlight streamed through the window onto the floor. Not even a trace of my breath remained. Where is Fang Yuan? Where did Fang Yuan go? She clutched the arm of a passing nurse. Her fingertips pressed so hard they almost pierced the other person's skin. Her voice trembled, unable to form words. The nurse looked at her. Her face was full of sympathy, gently patting the back of her hand. Miss, Mr. Fang has passed away. According to his wishes, we have cremated him. His ashes will be scattered into the sea. Shen Baiwei's head buzzed. The whole world spun. Only a deafening ringing remained in her ears. She could no longer hear anything else. She rushed out of the nursing home like a madwoman, running towards the sea, by the cliffside next to the sea. A staff member stood by the railing, slowly scattering white powder into the air. No, Shen Baiwei screamed, heartbroken. Her foot slipped. She stumbled and scrambled forward. Her fingertips almost touched the white powder. A sudden gust of wind blew strongly, carrying away the last bit of ashes. A handful of fine white powder brushed past her fingertips, flying towards the endless ocean, instantly vanishing without a trace. That was her Fang Yuan, the Fang Yuan who loved her so much. In that moment, time seemed to stand still. Before her eyes flashed my gentle smile. The image of me in a suit, standing at the altar, flashed by. My eyes filled with her reflection. The image of her leaning on my shoulder flashed by. When I bent my head to look at her, my eyes were filled with an undying affection. The last image stopped at her and Chen Zi's wedding car. The moment the wedding car and my taxi passed each other, through the car window, my eyes looking at her were frighteningly unfamiliar. In those empty eyes, her reflection was no longer visible. Fang Yuan Shen Baiwei let out a heart-wrenching cry of grief. She plunged into the bone-chilling seawater, desperately reaching out to grasp. Between her fingers, only the cold seawater remained, nothing at all. Her Fang Yuan, even the last trace, had vanished from this world. Fang Yuan, come back, please, come back! A sweet, metallic taste suddenly rose in her throat. She spat out a mouthful of fresh blood with a gush. Her eyes went dark, completely losing consciousness. When she woke up, she was in the hospital. Her special assistant stood by the bed. His eyes were red-rimmed. Shen Baiwei said nothing. She just stared blankly at the ceiling. There was no light in the depths of her eyes, like a stagnant pool of water, filled with despair. Fang Yuan was no longer in this world. Fang Yuan was dead, dead because of her. Shen Baiwei returned to the country, back to the home that was once ours. The air still seemed to linger with my scent. Every little corner once held my presence. She staggered into the house. The living room was so quiet that she could only hear her own breathing. On the sofa, she seemed to see me holding Wang Zi, gently looking at her. I was wearing a pristine white shirt. On my face was her most familiar smile. Baiwei, why do you look so tired? My voice was still so gentle. Wang Zi poked his little head out from my arms, barking twice towards her, wagging his tail furiously. Fang Yuan Shen Baiwei froze in place. Then she smiled. She smiled and smiled again. Tears streamed down her face. Fang Yuan, I miss you so much. Didn't we say, for our anniversary next month, we'd go mountain climbing with Wang Zi? I still smiled. Wang Zi licked his tiny nose, tilting his head to look at her. Shen Baiwei trembled as she reached out, wanting to embrace me. But the moment her fingertips were about to touch me, my figure, like mist, instantly vanished without a trace. There was nothing at all on the empty sofa. "Don't go, Fang Yuan, don't go!" She lunged at the sofa, desperately hugging empty space. Her own vows from before suddenly echoed in her ears. "Fang Yuan, I will love you, protect you for life. I will never betray you. You are my whole world. You are the meaning of my life. I swear. In this lifetime, besides you, I will not love anyone else. Fang Yuan, you can only be mine alone." The vows she had once made to me, now transformed into the sharpest blades, slicing her heart to pieces. Shen Baiwei knelt on the ground, holding her head, sobbing uncontrollably. Like a madwoman, she tore through the entire house, wanting to find any trace related to me, but there was nothing. When I left, I took everything with me, as if to completely erase myself from her life. She suddenly remembered what the special assistant had once said. Before leaving, Fang Yuan had taken all the items that had witnessed their love and cast them all into the sea. Shen Baiwei walked to the seashore and plunged herself into the sea. She wanted to find all of their past, day after day. Shen Baiwei was like a living corpse. Aside from essential eating and sleeping, all her remaining time was spent immersed in the bone-chilling seawater, searching for illusory memories in the ocean, becoming her only obsession to continue living. Until our wedding anniversary, Shen Baiwei jumped into the sea once again. The seawater today was especially clear and blue. Sunlight penetrated the surface, creating sparkling streaks of light. But an entire day passed. Still, nothing was found. Just as she was about to surface, she suddenly saw a golden object shimmering. It was the golden portrait she had personally melted down. In the picture, I was nestled beside her, my eyes gentle. She too was brimming with happiness. She once said, "This symbolizes our golden, unshakable bond, unbreakable, an item that no longer existed." Why did it appear here? Shen Baiwei's dead heart, in that moment, suddenly throbbed violently. The non-existent painting had appeared. So, would her Fang Yuan also return? The golden portrait swayed gently, beginning to slowly sink to the deeper, darker seabed. Shen Baiwei went crazy. Using all her strength, she dived down, chasing after that soul light. Oxygen was running out. She reached out, finally grasping a corner of the portrait. Its heavy weight made her believe this was not a hallucination. She hugged the portrait tightly, as if holding the most precious treasure on earth. At this moment, she saw a figure. It was her Fang Yuan. I was wearing the white shirt from when we first met, standing in light and shadow, smiling and waving at her. Fang Yuan, Shen Baiwei was overjoyed, ecstatic. Fang Yuan really came back. She swam towards me. This time, she would absolutely not let go of my hand again. She must love me very much. Never betray me again. Fang Yuan, I'm coming. We will be together. Forever. 3 days later, Shen Baiwei's special assistant received a call from the police. Shen Baiwei's body was found on the seashore. It had been recovered. In her arms, she was still clutching a submerged rock. The special assistant rushed to the scene. Looking at her face, soaked by seawater, swollen but still recognizable, he let out a sigh, shook his head. From the day I died, he had already foreseen this outcome. If Shen Baiwei loved me to the point of life and death, then why did she pretend to have amnesia to be with Chenzi in the first place, pushing me into the abyss with her own hands? People always realize what they have only after they lose it. Unfortunately, some mistakes can never be undone.